Hello and welcome back to Up the Villa. On today's episode, we're going to be talking a bit of data around the Villa players, the Villa creative players, the ones that are creatively progressing Aston Villa further up the football pitch. And I want to have a look at the makeup of Villa's attack as we move forward. I think the last couple of episodes for me, we've done the season so far and we've spoke about positive negatives. The match preview that me and Earl did when we were talking about personnel in Villa's system, how it could fluidly maneuver around the pitch and offer different looks. And then it sort of led me down a bit of a rabbit hole. This is how I can go, a little rabbit hole, looking at numbers, looking at the data behind what the players are actually doing. I think it's very important that, yes, we can see the eye test. We can look at Villa and we can go, right, you're not crossing it. You're not dribbling it. Your touch is no good. But what are they actually doing compared to their teammates? What do their numbers look like? And within all of this, I stumbled across a player and it was a bit of a light bulb moment. But Yuri Tielemans, we haven't had Yuri Tielemans for a substantial number of weeks, and he hasn't been there with his minutes of football because of his injury. And he is a big, big player for Aston Villa, attacking wise, creatively, going forward. We look at Villa's midfield two makeup of Kamara and a Bogard who can be a bit deeper. Yes, Kamara can go on the left side a little bit and do things. And to be honest, like, Kamara's creative, right? He's got the most assists so far for Villa this season. Yes, he's got the most assists for Villa this season. But with Tielemans being back, it may move Tielemans further forward, but I don't really like him there that much. So it puts him back in his usual position on that left-hand side with Kamara on the right. And Tielemans is so crucial. I've had a look at his numbers and we're going to go through a lot of numbers on this episode today. And I will predict my lineup for the game on Thursday as well. The first thing that I really stumbled across was the obvious. Last season, in the Premier League, 3 goals and 7 assists. Now, if I look at Tielemans and go, you got 7 assists. I mean, let's think we could maybe try and get towards that again this season or get to 10. That's 10 assists from a central midfielder. You then start adding bits around the team. The load comes off the rest of the team. So that's the obvious. But then I had a look at his progressive passes. Now, a progressive pass is moving the ball forward towards the opponent goal more than 10 yards. And I think this is a very key metric when you're looking at quite a lot of footballers. How are you moving the ball forward? A lot of footballers can get a lot of criticism for going sideways, backwards, and sometimes it's warranted within a system. Sometimes you get your shape, you recover, you regroup, you recycle, and you go again. But actively progressing it forward, when you're talking about a central midfielder, that basically means he's passing it forward to another player in the Aston Villa team, which is important because it means we're going further up the football pitch and we're getting towards the opposition goal. And he had the highest last season for Aston Villa per 90 at 6.99. So he's basically at 7 progressive passes per 90, which I feel like is important. This season, he's at 6 so far. So he's 1 pass shy of last season's numbers. And that is in 315 minutes, which is not a lot because he's not played that much because he's been injured. And then I really wanted to delve into some of the other Villa players and have a look at what their progressive passes were like, progressive carries and progressive passes received. And this leads me to sort of how Villa can become a little bit more fluid and attacking. What players are the ones that stand out in this type of metric? So progressive passes per 90, and we will have to do a little caveat in a minute about the minutes that some of these players have played. So Aston Villa, right, pause the video, drop a like. This is what you need to do. Pause the video and drop a like and type in, who do you think has the highest progressive passing range for Aston Villa this season? Okay. So you've all paused it. You've all hit the like button. So let's go. Ian Matson with 9.50 progressive passes per 90. That is huge, but less minutes. So he's played less minutes and he's doing this on the ball. Right. Jadon Sancho has got 8.75 with less minutes. I'll tell you the minutes in a second. Barkley, 8.57. Kamara, 6.03. Yuri Tielemans, 6. And Rodgers, 2.83. So the minutes are, Sancho has only had 71 minutes. Barkley, 65. Matson, 178. Those are the players that are named on that list then. And Rodgers has had 891, which is Villa's most. Now, we'll look at someone like Matson, and I think, and this is what we've got to think of, some of the players with high passing forward, progressive passes with lower numbers. Can they do that if they play more games? Matson, I think yes. Sancho, I actually think yes as well. And Barkley, I think yes as well. I think they're all quite good on the ball. So players off the bench are having the higher numbers based on some of the creative starters. So like I say, they've got to come off the bench and get more minutes anyway. So the ones that come in and starting, they're having a longer game to sort of get those numbers. But I don't really think that should be like diminish the amount of times that you can do that. Surely, I think when I think of how attacking Villa can be, I think who's the Villa's most attacking left back? It's Matson. So it shows here that he progresses the ball forward quite a lot. Sancho, forward thinking, progresses the ball quite a lot. Barkley, progresses the ball quite a lot. So I think it's really interesting. Let me know how you're reading into this as well. I'm reading it into it my way, so it makes sense in my head anyway. Right, so progressive passes received. Who's receiving the ball higher up the pitch? Ian Matson is at the top on 8.50. So progressive passes received. Next up is Digne on 6.91. So there's quite a big drop off there. Well, drop off there. Then we've got Watkins on 6.21, Gesson 5.65, Rodgers 5.56, Marlon 4.86, and Cash 4.54. So Matson, Digne are they're at the top. So we know that we attack down the left-hand side. We're progressing the ball forward to them. They're receiving the ball in those progressive areas. So I think that's quite interesting that, again, Matson receives the ball higher up the pitch. So if I'm unlocking, like thinking, how can we unlock and be a bit more fluid? Like that combination on the left is maybe something that we could look at. Obviously, we've got to look at Emery and think game on game, etc. But I think for this game, it's got to be Matson for me. Then we look at progressive carries. Who's carrying the ball further up the football pitch to the opposition goal, more than 10 yards? We've got Jadon Sancho, 8.75. And then 4.29 is Ross Barkley. The drop-off is quite significant. So again, left-hand side, Sancho is carrying the ball. He's the one that carries the ball the most for Aston Villa when he plays games. We've got Matson on 4, Buendia 3, Harvey Elliott, 2.73. Evan Gesson on 2.39. Ollie Watkins on 1.84. And Rodgers on 1.41. So I think it's quite low from Rodgers, especially. Progressive carries, 1.41, less than 2 a game. That's not great. Watkins, the same, less than 2. Gesson, 2.39. And add it up now. So if Gesson's receiving the ball 5.65 times with a progressive pass received, and then his progressive carries are only at 2.39, I think that could be a little bit higher if you ask me. Some of the other minutes we've got Buendia on 357, Gesson on 418, Rodgers 891, Watkins 786. So I kind of feel like what I've kind of gathered here is that we are really missing Yuri Tielemans, and some of the creative players probably aren't producing certain numbers. Like, I'd want Rodgers to carry the ball more. I think I'd want Watkins to carry the ball more as well. And then I'll look at sort of the progressive passes. You know, you'd want Rodgers on that list, surely, that he gets the ball and he passes it forward, and he's not even in the top 5. So I think it's really interesting, and something that I had a little look at, and I think some of you might find it quite insightful. But fingers crossed, bring back Yuri Tielemans, because he's absolutely crucial. We need him in there, because I think he's like a Rodri for Man City. I think he's like a Cole Palmer for Chelsea. Odegaard for Arsenal. He was our best player last season, and we've not really had him. We've had him for 300 and... where are we? We've had him for 315 minutes so far. Compare him to 891 of Rodgers, you'd probably say he'll play exactly the same amount of minutes as Rodgers. So bring him back, get Villa progressing further forward. But then you've also got added in there, like, look at the things that I've mentioned, that Mats and Sancho progress Villa quite a lot. Can we bring those in? Can they play more minutes? Can that combination be better for Aston Villa? So I think it's interesting. I mean, I'll look at that there. So Harvey Elliott, 2.73 progressive carries, and he's played... I haven't wrote down how many minutes he's played, but he's not played many minutes, has he? So I guess that's quite good as well. Right, so enough waffling. I thought that was just quite interesting to just have a little look at. Right, so let's go now and predict my lineup. I know Earl did his yesterday, so we'll go with mine on what I am going with for Aston Villa v Maccabi Tel Aviv. Right, in goal, I'm going with Bezot. I think he's straight in for me. I want to see more of him. I want to see him on the ball more. I want to see him not making many saves, but if he has to make a save, make it, and just look comfortable on the ball. Defensively, I've got one option. Do I rest Konsa or do I rest Cash? And this decision for me is very easy. I am resting Ezri Konsa for the weekend, and I'm going with Lindelof at right-sided centre-back. Why? Because Konsa cannot play every single game this season. And with Tyrone Mings now missing for 7 weeks, that is already going to put pressure on Pau. And we're very light in these situations. And I would say, categorically, a Konsa injury is an absolute disaster, right? A disaster, because Konsa is class. Full stop. And he's head and shoulders right now, probably our first name on team sheet, I think, personally. I think that's true, to be honest. Right, so Lindelof is playing, and he's going to have to partner Pau Torres. So we need to kind of wrap Pau in cotton wool, but we're going to have to do that with him playing. So I don't know what we're going to do there, but Pau's going to have to play. Right? So Pau plays, Lindelof, Cash, and then it's going to be Ian Maatsen for me. So Maatsen is going to be starting at left back, up and down, inverting, width, right? So there we go. Double pivot. Again, I think this needs slightly rotating. We have got a huge game at the weekend. Anyone that just thinks we're going to rock up and roll them over, that's not happening. Bournemouth are very, very, very good, and we are going to have to be at our very best to beat them right now. So rotation for that game is key, but also rotating with Bogard. That's not really a drop-off for me now. Like, okay, he's not Kamara, is he? But that drop-off, I'm not saying we're putting in a kid or someone who's absolutely useless. He's now a proper Villa player that deserves to play minutes and probably didn't deserve to lose his place out of the team. Now, partnering Bogard, we've kind of got two options, haven't we? We've got McGinn or we've got Onana. I'd love to have had Barkley in there. I think I'd have gone Barkley, but he's not in the European squad. Onana has played a lot of minutes recently for Villa. We know his injury record, so he needs to have his minutes managed and possibly, well, he probably is going to start at the weekend. Tielemans probably isn't going to be ready to start games for a week or two. So I think we've got to go with McGinn in there. I think we kind of probably lacked a bit of McGinn against go-ahead Eagles especially. So I think him with Bogard, and I'm starting to see that McGinn's best position for me, actually, I really like him in central midfield. I think he adds energy. He's got a powerful nature about him. Very, very good central midfielder. So I will go with Bogard and McGinn. Left-hand side, I think you can probably all see where we're going with the left-hand side. We're going to go with Sancho on the left. On the right, I'm going to go, again, you can probably see where I'm going. On the right, I'm going to go with Harvey Elliott. And up top, I'm going to go with Daniel Marlon and Morgan Rogers. So Rogers is going to be in that little 10 pocket for me. So I think my lineup has everything that I want from this game. A balance, excitement, energy. It's got a bit of flair, creativity, a new balance to it. And I think the team will work in a nice pattern, because how I see this team lining up would be, for example, Rodgers to drop a little bit in the pocket. So you've got a 3 in midfield. Elliott can then go and support and play quite central. Cash can offer width in that area. Bogard can tuck in and screen. You've got a back 3. You've got McGinn, who can be a little bit more box to box, but sitting in that pocket, because they are going to be camped in their half. We're going to have a lot of territory. So Sancho hugs the width on the left. Maatsen can come inside as well. And Aston Villa's general shape in this game is going to look something similar to that. So we've got players that can break through lines. We've got good creative players on the ball. We've got width. We've got a presence. And I think this team is the team that we should go with. And I think hopefully Unai will agree. Let's see what Unai does. Let's see if Elliott is, I'm not going to say in the squad, in the team. Well, I really want to see it. Hopefully he cooks if he plays, and he does really, really well. So we've had match preview. If you've not watched it, go and check it out. This episode, make sure you drop in that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Most importantly, comment your thoughts. Up the Villa, everyone.